Hey, what is up, friend and fellow anti-netter, and of course, all of the freebie-seeking YouTuber Zettelkasten shitweasels. Hello to you. All right, so what I want to share with you today is how to actually build a real Zettelkasten. Like, it's been a while. Like, I've been on this journey for a while. I've taught people, like tons of people, hundreds of people, thousands of people, how to build a true Zettelkasten, a real Zettelkasten, an anti-net Zettelkasten. Now, if I were to start over from scratch today, I want to show you how I would teach myself how to build essentially a real Zettelkasten. Okay, so what I would do is I would navigate over to my trusty old bookshelf here, and I would find the best book ever written. Okay, and no, it's not that, but that book sucks. It's oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so it's Anti-Net Zettelkasten by some guy named Scott frickin' Shepper. Okay, so what I would do is I would take out this 594-page beast, and I would put it in front of me on my beautiful whatever wood this is desk, okay? And then I would take out my Mont Blanc pen. That is a JFK edition, okay? Not into politics and not necessarily into JFK, but it's a freaking beautiful pen. And you know what I would do? I would freaking just put this pen here and I would stare at it and feel good about myself, okay? The next thing I would do is I would open up the table of contents of the Anti-Net Zettelkasten book, okay? And where I would navigate to, I would ignore. I wouldn't even read anything, really anything. Okay, maybe I would read the preface. The preface is a good part. But other than that, maybe I'd read chapter 1. Okay, but really, you don't have to read anything. The only thing I would do is I would really read chapter 11, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Anti-Net, which is different. There's a free guide out there that I've put out there, and this is different. Okay, it reads different. It's better. Okay, it's organized better. Okay, and I would navigate to page 323, which I have magically. What the hell? There seems to be an actual frickin' note card in there that saved my spot on page 323. How about that? All right, so I would go into page 323 and I would read this chapter. This first section basically primes your mind for actually, all of the myths of working with a Zettelkasten and all of the stuff that the Obsidian Bubble Graph boys, get wrong, okay? And then this outlines the architecture, the anatomy of a true Zettelkasten, okay? And then I would just go through this section. Now, let me show you. If I was writing this today, if I was writing this book today, and probably in the second edition, a lot of people, they kind of get hung up on, I have a section in here about Zotero, and this section is fine. You can follow this, but I really wouldn't honestly worry about this. I would just file and take your notes using what I outline then, basically on page 420, okay? 42069, no, I'm just kidding, but it's 420 is the actual page number, and I would go through the two-step Lumanian bib card method, okay? And here is the whole process that I take people through on how to actually extract knowledge from books using the two-step Lumanian bib card method, okay? And I show walkthroughs of how I go through it. And here's actually Lumen himself, the godfather of Zettelkasten. There's a little, if you can see that, that's an actual bib card sticking out of his book, okay? And, basically I show you step by step. Here's actually even a Lumanian bib card, okay? This is in, German, sloppy German, and I actually have a translation of it on page 430, so you can kind of see what the types of notes that Lumen himself took, okay? And then here's the bib box, and I outline, how the bib box works and all of that. So I would skip the Zotero implementation, and I would just go straight to actually using it via the bib box. And then what I would do is, after that, that's really all you need. That's all you really need to do. I really do love this entire section of, let me show you this, is chapter 12 and onwards is the whole concept of knowledge development, okay? And I love this section. And let me just go back to the table of contents, okay, and just show you this, okay? So part 3 of the book is knowledge development. It starts on page 366. So I would actually go from 366 to 485. I would read that section. Now, this is like super advanced. This is like, part 4 is like part 301. That's like master's degree. You don't necessarily need to read it, but I find it fascinating, okay? And then, of course, a lot of this, the beginning stuff, like the story behind the story, I think this part is important to understand, especially Nicholas Luhmann, the man, is really fantastic and important to understand, because as you build out a Zettelkasten, a true Zettelkasten, in the way that Luhmann structured his, you will actually start to see how he was able to construct his, paradoxical, really profound theories. Okay, and then even this section is also very good. This takes you through and especially I love the tree structure. If you are, and even this is like how to actually do the cards. I would read these two if you're trying to figure out, especially the trees. Okay, this gets into, on page 245, this gets into how to actually numbering and how to categorize. Let's get into this. Here's the rigid structure, the old fluid structure, which, all the PKM bubble graph boys, declare as bad or declare as good, and rigid is bad, all that stuff, all the bubble graph boy stuff. But what I get into, and this is, what a lot of people they get hung up on, it's like classification systems, is people just, for some reason, and because I use the same structure as the Luhmann used, which is actual top-level branches, people think I'm obsessed with categories for some reason. Again, topics, categories, and fuzzy categories. I see they're fuzzy categories. They're not strict categories, okay? And let's see. I wanted to show you this section on there's different types of tree classification systems. Like I show, here's what Luhmann's tree classification system looked like. You see, Luhmann's, people are like, oh, don't use top level categories, just start at 1 and go from there. Luhmann didn't do that, you dipshit idiots, so stop saying that. Sorry, I can't control myself. But there's all of these hipster douchebag idiots that hang out in the Reddit Zettelkasten, and they just confuse everyone. Luhmann actually did use top-level categories. Like his cards were 3, 4, 1, 1 / 1 / 2. Okay, so this dispels all of the myths. I start with, I chose my own tree classification, and I basically outline that. So if you're confused on that, this is the chapter section on trees. It's like at the very end of the section on trees. So that's what I would also go through. So that's pretty much it. I would pick up the best book that is ever written, Anti-Net Zettelkasten. I would take this book. I don't even know what even is this book. Is it written by a guy named Ulysses? Is it called James Joyce? Who knows? But this is definitely not the best book ever written. I would get rid of that, and I would just read this, and then I would turn myself into a reading, research, writing machine and read Anti-Net Zettelkasten. All right. So hopefully you freebie seeking Zettelkasten YouTuber shitweasels enjoyed it. If you do, my fellow shitweasels, comment in the comment section below, and always remember to stay crispy, my friend. Peace.